Hey folks, welcome back. So I'm going to show you a little clip here from a live stream I did. I think it was on Sunday. I did a review of a video by the Conspiracist. It's a mockumentary, so flat earthers. This is a mockumentary, not a real documentary. It's not a real flat earther. Pretending to be a flat earther. It's fairly accurate in how flat earthers are and their ideologies and beliefs and kind of the delusion that they exhibit. Let's have a look. I have a bit of a laugh. It's quite funny.
We live on a flat plane. Most people think we're weirdos, but I'm not really like that. I'm more of an open-minded naturist, as it were.
Now remember, Flerf, this is a mockumentary, right? Taking the piss. Alright, this guy isn't real. I know you're gonna think he is, because he's pretty convincing. Because it's not hard to act like a flat earther, it's gonna act like a dumbass.
So where do you think we are right now?
No flips, no
Yeah,
comments,
Brighton,
right?
Brighton Beach, but more specifically, see, mainstream education will have us believe that we're floating on a spinning ball, moving at 1,000 miles an hour. That sounds a bit fucking mental to you. See, I trust my eyes. I don't need some educated scientist coming along telling me what to think. I think my own thoughts. Thank you very much. I've done my research, and why would I take the research of someone else?
That's funny. Flat earthers don't do their own research, or the research is like, I'll watch the Eric Dubay video, and that's their research.
Over the research of myself. Do you know what I mean? That's like me relying on someone else's memories over my own. I've had people questioning my credentials, but they don't understand the sort of education I've had. My education was special, you know.
Oh, flat earthers' education is special. Don't eat. Why are the crayons up your nose again, there, man? Flat earther. Come on.
Look over there. You can quite clearly see France. I mean, you've got to really try hard and really want to see it and kind of imagine it's there, but you can see it.
How long have you been into all of this?
It's about 5, 6 years now. Flat Earth in particular. I got into it trying to debunk it, and the thing with the flat Earth is it opens up a lot of other doors, because before you work out whether or not the Earth is actually flat or a globe or whatever you might think it is, you have to know about other conspiracies. So there's a lot of groundwork to do first. You know, you've kind of got to deny a lot of what you call reality in order to get to flat Earth. But it was YouTube that really started me off of it. Like I say, I started off trying to debunk it, and then about 5, 6 videos in quick succession.
We have a kitty. Hello, kitty. Have a kitty. He's come to say hello. Hello, kitty. Salem. Come to say hello. And then that's Loki. Salem. He's a bit friendly. Really friendly. Let's get back with the video. Salem, don't. She's loving kitty. So you. Really. Pay attention to. Come on. Jealous dog. Hey, behave. Behave. There's two up and decided to misbehave themselves. Get along, behave. Alright. Alright, let's get back to it here.
And there's a lot of people who reckon stuff. I was like, that's quite a lot of people. That's more than one hand. And as a rule, if I can't count something on one hand, it's important. That led me on to memes, which are easily digestible, especially when they're laced with popular culture references. That reminds me of my childhood. From there, it just sort of snowballed, really, into a full-time career and general influencer.
Come on, how accurate is this? This is so freaking flirty. Right? This is like legit. This like, it's just like every Flerf. It's awesome.
Some people have called me a celebrity. I imagine that statistic is going to go up with this once this is released. Wouldn't you say? You know. But I'm ready for it. You know, I'm sure I'll get people recognise me in the street in a positive way this time. They do now sometimes, but usually it's things like, "You fucking idiot," is what they say to me, and "What the fuck are you talking about, mate?" So I'm looking.
Flerfs think they're famous. They're not famous. They're infamous. There's a difference.
Forward to the positive side of being a bit of a face about town once this is done.
Are there any YouTubers that stand out in particular for you?
Yeah. There was one that he's actually responsible for quite a lot of people waking up. He's he basically is a yoga teacher in Dubai, and the deal is you pay a subscription fee to him, and he tells you the Earth's flat.
Yeah, that's pretty much about it. And freaking the voice, like pay a subscription to him, and he'll give you an app that takes you to Dubai freaking videos or just like loads of BS.
It's a bargain. It's a good way for him, I imagine, of funding his cushy lifestyle without having to do any work. It's always a plus, I suppose. You know, he's one of those people that he was one of the visionaries in it, because he got all the information there ready for us all to have a little look, put it together, swished it round a bit, and here we all are, you know, living our lives like it's golden.
Yeah, that sure is. Well, it's a bicycle, isn't it? With like globe earths or something. I don't know. I don't know how they got that from. He's wearing a Manchester United hat as well. He knows.
Easy experiment anyone can do, right? On a clear day like this, when the weather's calm, the water's settled, and you can see clearly defined the flat horizon. Hit your hand like that in this position, otherwise known as the flat position. We're all agreed in this context that is flat, yeah? So if you just hold up your arm in line with the water.
He's using the Nathan Thompson technique. He's like, oh yeah. Flat Earth science right there. Water is level. Yeah. Oh, look at that. Yeah, that much. Yep, that must be it. This is awesome.
Water line. At no point is there any curvature of the water line behind what you're seeing of your flat arm. And you don't need any equipment for that. That's the sort of science I bring to people. You're welcome. I just feel like I've stumbled across all this information that all the world's scientists haven't. Obviously, I consider myself a scientist, but I'm more like alternative science, whereas mainstream scientists like Neil deGrasse Tyson and stuff, they're all about the showmanship, really. Each to their own, you know. I don't hate on him as much as some of the others do, you know. I've got a bit of a positive attitude towards what you call conspiracy theories. I mean, most people think we're weirdos that live in basements or hang about in bushes.
Yeah, he needs a duck suit like Nathan Thompson to stop the electricity from the magnetized mountain. That was fucking awesome. I watched the whole thing. That was class. His walk of shame at the end at the airport was just brilliant. I put that in some videos actually. I've been winding Nathan Thompson up on TikTok for freaking months. I think, well, it's gotten to the point now, if he sees me in a live, he just like mutes me instantly. It doesn't even let me even speak. And he kicks me sometimes too. He's a knobhead.
In dark, seedy.
Welcome in, CK, by the way. Nice to see you, mate. Science, the whole series was hilarious. It was awesome. Did you notice the freaking the certificate off of Guinness's Book of World Records was all spelt wrong as well? Nathan was too stupid to even realize it.
Corners of the world, but I'm not really like that. I'm more of an open-minded naturist, as it were.
Yeah,
It's taken me on a journey, definitely. Seen all sorts.
Because they're all like, oh, freaking TikTok is horrible. I mean, they're a bit bad here. Well, you know, YouTube's not quite as bad, but TikTok is just horrendous. Go on there. I listen to the live sometimes just to laugh.
Sorts of psychedelic things when I've been on psychedelics, of course, but those are the sorts of substances that help you open your mind and see things in a different way. Right, we're here with Professor Dan Albrighton from the University of Sussex. Pleased to meet you, mate. How you doing?
Hello, nice to meet you.
Dan has very kind.
Yeah, well, like, you have to be a special kind of person, like, enjoy being punished, I think, to do TikTok. So, yeah. Oh, yes. TikTok itself is just freaking vile anyways, but yeah, the flat earthers on there, and X. X is bad too.
Only invited me to his home, which is it's pretty rare that any of these people let me anywhere near them. So he's a professor from the University of Sussex. He is a well-published scientific author of several bestsellers. Is that right?
Yeah.
He's very well respected amongst his peers, as I've been reading. So with that in mind, what makes you think you know more than me about everything?
All the things you just said.
Yeah, but
Yeah, I actually, I need to figure out how to stream to both on TikTok and YouTube. Cause I want to do like a TikTok live, but stream onto my YouTube as well. I'm still figuring that out. I've seen where the guys have restream, but I didn't get to pay a subscription to that. But I might look into it. I'm just trying to want to get more people kind of coming to lives here. I've been on lives on TikTok, and I've run my live a few times when I have time to do it. And I had a few flat earthers in there. They're funny. And I had one pretty much just like raging out at me just because he claimed something about the SpaceX hitting the firmament. Anyway, I showed him because I think it was the one Starship 3 or something when the booster blew up. And he goes, the booster blew up, it hit the firmament. I went, oh, well, how come the Starship's still going? It's still going. And then he started freaking raging at me. I was like, it's still going, but it's still going. Look, even telemetry data. He was not impressed. He didn't see that part.
what does all that mean?
Well, it means I've been studying the universe for all my professional life. I've had my findings and publications extensively scrutinized by my peers, and they've looked for flaws, and the result is that my knowledge is as conclusive as it can get.
But have you done your own research?
What?
Part of my day, I tend to like to try and get out there into the public as well, being man of the people. I like to share everything I've learned, and it's a case of trying to wake people up. I only wish I had people like me around to wake me up long before I wake myself up, but I didn't. So I imagine people are really grateful once they hear what I've got to say. But this is always quite a good spot. You get some tourists around, some locals, and you know, there's nothing more rewarding than going up to someone when they're minding their own business and just saying, here's what I think about everything. You can tell that the powers that be know about me.
Yeah, I was glad to see. I try to get on every Friday, Friday and Wednesdays, but sometimes family things interfere in, and I'm just not able to get on. So, but it is I'm trying to make them regular days. Hopefully, I'll get more consistent. So, yeah, glad you're able to join. We'll continue on with this.
Me,
Funny.
that trying to drown me out. They know we're filming. Obviously, they know the sort of information I'm sharing. I don't want to say I'm a targeted individual, but I'm probably on some sort of target board somewhere in the head office of the global elite, where they all sit round talking about me.
It's like every flat earther, they think that they're all out to get them. Like they're like main character syndromes. But I don't know if you've seen that Steve from UK that he's going on about Will Duffy not phoning him when he thought he should have phoned him on the final experiment. But that guy's got major freaking like main character syndrome. I mean, it's almost like narcissistic personality disorder on at least on the fringes of it. But yeah, that's they're all like that. They all think that they have some special knowledge, and the government's after them.
I imagine entities a bit like maybe Shredder from Turtles or something like that. That's how I like to fantasize about it. That way I really feel like I've got a powerful enemy that I'm fighting. And again, if you're trying to market something, it's good to give people a bit of perspective and nostalgia for their childhood when they think they're effectively a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle.
Yeah, Steve, hey, dude, if you look at this channel, which is it's a bit of a pain in the ass trying to find his channel, but there's like 5 years of him doing nothing. He did COVID, I think, was the last one before he did the final experiment ones, and then and the stupid thing is he's lost about 1,500 pounds to like doing stupid bets. It's always a flat Earth fantasy. It's a delusional fantasy, but yeah. I mean, if I was Steve's wife, I'd be freaking well pissed. I mean, like he's lost 1,500. He lost £1,000 to Craig McNeil from FTFE, and 500 to him. 500 to freaking DP debunks because of the whole sets controversy, which he got absolutely wrecked on. I even got in on that one too and sent it, but those two got in before I did. I mean, he lost $500 to freaking to Critical Think about the freaking airplane flight. I mean, that is stupid.
Let's just say that all the powers and the forces at work, they're not all human. I believe we were visited by...
Craig and I did pretty much kind of same sort of thing where we just used like the YouTube's caps to do it. Craig, I think, if you went, I went a little bit further than he did, like one step. But DP debunks absolutely just tore it right down to the waveform and everything. He did a really good analysis. Like, I mean, that was like, if we went to court, that would have just been like, yeah, just open and shut case. So, yeah, he deserved it. He did a really good job.
And a race of shape-shifting aliens years ago, centuries ago, decades ago even. And they've basically been here ever since, living amongst us, controlling everything we do, fair play to them, but, you know, I'm not having it. They didn't reckon about me, did they? They were like, we can enslave the entire population of the human race. But they underestimated me, you know, with my special knowledge. I'm their worst nightmare, effectively. I'm the one that could throw a complete spanner in their works. I'm basically the one that can save the world. Right, let's see if we can get hold of a member of the public to share my knowledge
It's noble cause. I'm the only one that can save the world, but I mean, it's just so delusional. It's just...
with. Got to... He looks like a laugh. Excuse me, mate. Hi, how you doing? Can I just ask you a question?
Yeah, sure.
How you doing?
Yeah.
Have you ever heard anyone talking about the flat Earth theory before?
Kind of, but
No?
don't really. Yeah, what's this for?
They're doing a documentary about me.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, because I've got special knowledge, and I know I probably, like, I don't want to assume, but you probably haven't. Do you watch YouTube at all?
A little bit, yeah. I do watch
Yeah.
YouTube.
I have a special knowledge. I don't assume, but you probably haven't. I mean, fuck.
Yeah.
So you've got access to the evidence?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, great. So have you ever seen anything about people believing in the flat Earth theories and stuff
I've
like that?
never watched one. No, it seems a bit wild, a bit crazy.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You haven't entertained the idea that we could all be wrong, or you lot could all be wrong. I mean, I don't want to say I'm a hero, but that's kind of how a lot of people see me. So,
Right.
yeah, it's. Do you think there's anything to it at all? Or I'm just trying to work out how much I need to convince you of.
I mean, it'd take a lot to convince me that
yeah.
it's
Well,
flat.
luckily, we can do a quick experiment right now, actually. So we're just gonna.
It's the freaking spirit level out. Come on.
Right, if you hold that, this is a level, yeah? Right. Scientists will believe, or have you believe, that we're living on a spinning ball, yeah?
Yeah.
That's going at 1,000 miles an hour, and the water's sticking to it.
Yeah.
But as everyone knows, water always finds its level. And a way that I can prove that, this is literally an object called a, but if you didn't know, this is called a level.
Yeah.
People use it in construction and stuff like that all the time.
Yeah.
If you see the flat horizon,
Yeah.
and we marry that up, and I adjust it to fit what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Adjusted to fit what I'm trying to say. Adjusted to fit my narrative. Then see, I'm right.
I'd say that's proof, don't you? I do my own research. Like all the things that I know about science, I've literally gone out there myself and done an experiment to prove that. What about your knowledge have you actually researched yourself, or is it sort of mainstream books and education?
Well, I'm not an experimental physicist or anything like that. I'm a theoretical physicist.
Oh, well.
But
Exactly, guys. Trying to be polite. He's showing his special knowledge. I got the spirit level out. See, look, it looks flat. Hold on, let me just hold it until it looks flat.
well, explain why you think your theory of the Earth being flat is valid.
Well, I've done my research.
Go
I've done
on.
my own research. So, first of all, there's just some fundamental things that don't work on a flat Earth. Is that right? Yeah, fair enough. Fair to say. Like mainstream science, no offence, will have us believe that we're on a spinning ball. Yeah, but everyone knows that water finds its level. Yeah, if you put water in a cup, it becomes a cup. Put water into a teapot, it becomes a teapot. Put water into a bowl, it becomes a bowl. I've got experiments I've done. I actually film them as well, and I like to go out there and really sort of, yeah. Here's one that I've done. It was just sort of, so you know how people think that we're on a spinning ball, and
Yes.
water can stick to it. It's mental. I've proven that water can't stick to a ball. You know, you put water into a cup, and so on.
I mean, how many flat earthers have done this stupid freaking thing with like a ball and they pour water over it? It's just ridiculous. I mean, it's just like going like, well, you know, there's like a whole like planet below it that has like a gravitational pull that's going to pull it down because its mass is bigger. And then they go, oh, or gravity doesn't exist. It was like, well, there's a downward force of some sorts, and you're trying to show it doesn't stick to a ball that's on it. I mean, but here, look, hold on, let me show you something. ISS. Look, all this is water. would sure prove there is a code. Yeah. Double globes. Shit. Sorry. But yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's just stupid. I always get the old flat earthers always going, water can't curve, and I go, look up a Google ball, the ground Kugel in the States, or like that, like, this water, because go, show me water sticking to a ball. Like, there's a Kugel ball during the States called the ground Kugel. The thing's like a massive, huge granite, uh, it's actually the globe is etched into it, and it turns and it stays wet, and they're like, no, that's not good enough. I'm like, what? You just said water sticking to a ball. It's a ball spinning, a spinning ball, and there's a ball spinning faster than the earth, and water sticking to it, and then they move the goalposts.
Have a look at this, right? This is again another easy experiment. So, globe toads will tell you that we're on a spinning ball, and water sticks to it. I know it's fucking mental, but that's what they think. So, you know, it's like a religion, isn't it, I suppose. But how do you disprove it? Very simply. I've got what's a fair, accurate interpretation of the globe. So this melon represents the globe, as it should. Why wouldn't it? It's pretty like for like, I'd say. Nothing different about it. Because gravity is still only a theory, so they reckon that we have water sticking all around us, as we previously talked about. That's why it's called sea level, because water always finds its level. This is what happens when you do pour water on melons. As you can see, most of it ended up on the floor. A little bit on me, but
Yeah, more flat Earth research. The only thing is, you could, if you wanted to be a bit of a dick, you could just say, "Is the melon still wet?" And then you go, "Yeah." I was like, "Well, that's water sticking to a ball. Then I mean, it's wet. Water's adhering to it." And they just go, "Nuh-uh." Like, but it is. He's just proving gravity. Yeah, because gravity's the theory. I've had this on TikTok loads of times. I'm actually you've heard of Dr. Blitz, and he brought up the whole Pound-Rebka experiment, and I get into the lives and they just go, they bring up gravity. I go, all right, explain the Pound-Rebka experiment, and every time they run, they just cannot do it. And then a lot of people haven't actually heard of it. I hadn't heard of it until Blitz talked about it, and I looked into it and went, that's really cool. Using like gamma radiation and all stuff like that. And but yeah, they just run from that. I think the best I've had, I think somebody tried to say it's electromagnetism. I'm like, no, they countered for that. They shielded against that. And then they go, well, it's this, and like, no. It's April Fool's joke. I sat and watched that for a while. I watched him just say, he's a good flat earther. Man, he just absolutely wrecks them. Dr. Blitz is a flat earther. That was. I think there's a few people that went in there didn't know, so at least I don't think they knew. I seen Peter Markley went in there and tried. He obviously knew. He tried his excuses, tried his arguments, but I was tempted, but I was just too busy that day. I also would have gone in just to try it because there's a few things he brought up. I went, oh, I could actually counter that, but just didn't have time that day. It's too bad.
Sort of price I'm willing to pay for all the sciences. Yeah, that's the kind of experiment I do. I don't know if you're familiar with any of those sorts of things.
But that's just you pouring water on a melon.
Yeah.
That doesn't simulate the planet Earth in space.
Well, I know, because the planet's not a globe.
I've made a few friends in this, not quite as many as I've lost, admittedly, but, they're all right. Like, there's other flat earthers, but I don't really necessarily think of them as friends, more people who are in awe of me. But there's a couple of the guys, they, just like I've got my YouTube channel, they've got their own YouTube channels doing what you call science, but I call pseudoscience for obvious reasons.
That's the thing. Well, that is actually a common thing you hear about from flat earthers is that they lose a lot of their friends and family, turn their backs on them because they're sick and tired of hearing them talk about it. I mean, even when they make friends in the flat earth community, I mean, you watch, if you leave that, man, those friends aren't really friends, are they? I mean, look what's happened to Jaren, look what's happened to Elizabeth. It's happened to several people. Like, just, like, even Witsit is just getting absolutely freaking raked to the coals. And Witsit's still trying to be a flat earther, sort of, kind of. I don't know what Witsit's doing, but, other than doing stuff to his wife. It's just crazy, though. I think TikTok. I don't know if you've been on TikTok there, and there's a fella that I've talked to a few times. He was he's called Duramax, and just stopped becoming a flat earther recently. And just talking with some of the guys. I mean, and he was friends with Nathan Thompson, had Nathan Thompson's personal phone number and everything. And then, but he just gets freaking abused by these people who were his friends. Are now just. They're so vile. It's like terrible.
I'm regularly.
I mean, even Steve from England here. If you watch the FTFE, there, where he showed Steve's son had to leave a comment on one of his videos, begging him to stop because he's just tearing their family apart, and it's just so sad. Really, it is. It's just like, And then there's that fella that MC2 is talking about, that there's some flat earther in the States that his wife said that like, he needs to give up the flat earth or else she's not going to have the kids around because he's probably just being so vile with it. And he refuses to. Like, he's choosing a stupid conspiracy theory over being around his children. I mean, what's going on? Like, it's a cult. It's got definitely a cult mentality to it. It's scary, and that's kind of why I do this. Yeah, the comment about Steve's son, that was sad.
I'm regularly in touch with a few of them. It's good to get on there and debate and just sort of, if the great thing about a debate is if you've got thick enough skin, you can refute any fact. Whatever they come at you with, I'm just like, nah, you're wrong.
Let me explain how science works. So, a scientist will have an idea called a hypothesis, and he'll want to test that, or she will want to test that hypothesis, and then they will come up with an experiment to look for data, to test the hypothesis, to look for predictions that are made by that hypothesis, and when they've got enough evidence, enough data, they'll publish the results in a scientific journal. And then that scientific paper will be reviewed by thousands and thousands of scientists all over the globe, and they will be checking for evidence, and they'll be looking for flaws, and they'll be trying to disprove the hypothesis. That's the scientific method. And if they can't disprove it, and if all the evidence agrees with the hypothesis, it then becomes a theory, or scientific fact, if you like. And that can take years and years and years of testing and testing and testing, and then eventually
you can see him like kind of like zoning out because he just doesn't want to hear it because it's like way too much work.
Scientific consensus is reached, and that's the scientific method.
Sorry, in case I missed it, have you done your own research or not?
He completely zoned out to the whole thing. Like, just like right over Flerf reset.
I've heard echo chambers getting a really bad rep over the last few years, but I promise you they're good. Echo chambers come in all shapes and sizes. You've got political ones, you've got scientific ones, and that's kind of why I've got a bit of empathy for all these people that believe in the heliocentric model, because their echo chamber is the mainstream media and science, and that's damaging in itself, but they can't see that because they're just so far down that rabbit hole of facts and logic that nothing I say sometimes really makes much of a difference. But you can see it.
Yeah, they're down that rabbit hole of facts and logic. Like it's just like, what I say makes a difference because they're down the rabbit hole of facts and logic and science. Yeah.
Every now and again, you plant a seed in someone's head, usually somebody a bit vulnerable, maybe they've just gone through some sort of trauma in their life. You can really pinpoint that and find a way to get into their imagination and just, penetrate that, like that mindset. And I've seen once proud people, like proud, strong, with it, got their life together, sorts of people that as soon as they get into this, everything changes for them.
The point is,
how's that even a good thing? Like this proud, good people, and this gets this, and that's it, changes everything. There's like wrecked.
look, we're not talking about just a little bit of an experiment. We're talking about years.
Some of the stuff he says in here is brutal to the flat Earth community. I mean, he is kind of calling them out on a few of the shit, right?
Years and years of experimental evidence, and you've got to have years of experimental evidence with other people checking your work to see if it makes sense and if they can reproduce those results, and if the theory is predicting those results. You're just pouring water on a melon.
Have those people done their own research?
Yes.
I've actually got a debate coming up tomorrow night with a guy called FTFE, Fight the Flat Earth, moderated by a guy called McToon. If you've seen some of my other videos, which some of you may have, some of you may not have, you'll have seen some of them popping up over the course of my YouTube antics, to be say. Funnily enough, that's McToon calling now, just to make sure we're all ready for the debate we've got coming up. So, anyway.
Hey, Brian.
How you doing? You alright?
I'm calling to remind you to make sure that we're ready for the debate that I'm hosting between you and Craig, FTFE.
Yep, cool. I'm all ready for Saturday. No problem.
No, it's tomorrow. Friday.
Saturday. No. You always do this. You always pretend that you got the days wrong, and it's like, it's their way of getting out of it. But,
Oh my gosh.
Didn't he say tomorrow? And then MC2 called. He went Saturday.
No, look at. All right, I just read the DM. That's why I'm calling you. So it's tomorrow. Can you do it tomorrow, or do we have to reschedule?
I can do whenever you need me to do it. I mean, I don't need to. I'm not bothered about, when I destroy you guys. It's just a case of it's going to happen either way. So, I'll do it. We'll do it both tomorrow and Saturday if you want. But
It's okay.
Yeah, just know that once again, this is them kind of, trick me and stuff like that. But they do this.
It's cool that you got MC2 in on this. It's kind of funny.
They go online and they're like, they forgot the wrong day. These Flerfs can't, and Flerf is it's a term I don't know how I feel about, but we'll leave it.
You're good with Flerf?
Yeah, I can. I mean, we can say it. It's one of them, in it, a bit like other sort of,
Oh, you can call yourself a Flerf, but other people can't call you a Flerf? Is that your... Oh, okay. Yeah. Anyway, so it's 10 o'clock your time tomorrow.
Saturday. What's today?
You said you could change it, so...
Okay, well, is
read
that...
the DM, it's tomorrow, 10 o'clock. I need to hear 10 o'clock, because last
10
time
o'clock.
you also got the date wrong.
10 o'clock
And the time.
tomorrow.
10 o'clock your time. Yep.
Our time. Or your time.
Yeah. Not my time, your time. All good.
Okay.
10 o'clock.
Okay, and Craig's okay. He's going to bring a pillow because when he gets butthurt again.
In case he falls asleep?
Well, that was a one-off. That was a one-off.
I was a one-off. After if you fell asleep, this is a one-off.
is the reason he gave. So.
That's a one-off. All right, perfect.
Cool.
Yes. Well, we'll be sure to have a pillow in case we fall asleep. But yeah, tomorrow, 10 o'clock. All right, we'll see you there.
All right, buddy. See you soon.
Brian, we'll see you.
Ta-da.
Bye.
See, they're lovely fellas. Some of these, in spite of us not seeing science the same, I can get along with them. You see, we've got a bit of a relationship where there's a mutual respect there. I think it's respect anyway.
How do you explain
How do tides work?
Well, this isn't my field, but it's quite a well-known process how tides work because the Earth is spinning.
I know how tides, yeah.
And at the same time, the Moon, which revolves around the Earth, has a gravitational pull.
I do have empathy, as you know, but that's where, and with all due respect, it's the education system's fault. It's not yours. Space isn't real.
Space isn't real.
Space isn't real. I love that. Always love that one. I go look up.
Real.
No.
Not a word of a lie. I've had a flat earther tell me that my pictures of Jupiter and Mars and stuff are CGI. And I'm going, but I was like, I even showed them, like, here's my telescope with my camera hooked up. How is it CGI? They go, no, it's CGI. Like, what is the computer screen, like the whole freaking sky, freaking the CGI? Like, what? I was like, this is a legit picture I took myself. And then they just go, no, it's not. I'm like, yes, it is. I'm like, fucking hell.
What,
anything they don't like is CGI.
what do you mean?
You've seen Star Trek, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, so effectively what they learnt from Star Trek was that they can convince people there is such a thing called space. I know, mental, innit? But really, we live in a confined container on a flat plane. So none of the heebie-jeebie voodoo stuff you've seen on Star Trek, Star Wars, same thing.
But then what's outside?
Just gonna trigger some people there. Star Wars, Star Trek, same thing. Oh, you're gonna get the freaking, like, the Trekkies and the freaking Star Wars nerds right on your back with that one.
Inside the container.
Who knows? That's the beauty of
Well,
science.
we all do know space is space time,
okay,
actually.
So you can't answer that one. Hi, are you all right?
Brian, hi.
How's it
Come
going?
in. Go through, yeah. All right.
How are you?
Yeah, I'm very well, thanks. How are you?
Very well. This is my friend Rosie. She's my special friend. Not special
Hiya.
friend. Not special. Well, most women are special in their own sort of. I should probably. I'm gonna get this all right.
His special friend, like, it's just like freaking what's his name? Shit, Sergeant and his special friend that up and, like, left him.
Yeah, you go on through to the kitchen.
Mark Sargent thing, his special friend.
How you been? You alright?
Yeah, I've been very well, thanks. What about you?
Well, you know, just the usual bit of truthing. Bit of YouTube, as always. It's important. Someone's got to do it.
Yep.
I'll start putting some of this away. Do you have a chopping board? I'll get the lunch on.
Oh, hold on. If it's meat, use this one. Because it's raw meat.
What's the difference? It's still,
Raw
I'm still
chicken.
chopping it though.
No, raw chicken, different board.
I like to let it, yeah. Yeah, I'll do that. Anyway. So, yeah. Have you got a knife?
Yes, Sergeant had his breakup letter when she's just said that I'm just leaving Flat Earth because I just decided that, you know what, it's just, she's seen the light with all the 24-hour sun and all that stuff. A breakup letter off. I mean, he's a sad man. I mean, I looked him up because I was like, Mark Sargent, I've heard of him. And then I looked up his age. The guy's like in his 50s. He's like, what? I think he's 10 years older than I am. I'm in my 40s. I was like, he still lives with his mom. I mean, I'd say that if he was living with his mom, you can tell he's taking care of her. But it's not. I mean, there's even video of her, like, making him sandwiches and stuff like that. So he lives with his mom, and his mom looks after him. I mean, the guy's in his 50s, and it's good to be close to your family. I get that, you know. My mom and I were close when she was around. But, I mean, this gets to a point where you need to kind of cut the apron strings and get out there a bit.
Yep.
Sad.
Fantastic.
Here you go.
I mean, honestly, he's one of those people that Flat Earth is all he has. Like, without that, he's got nothing. It's it's definitely one of those sad cases.
Like that one, that's quite nice and sort of flat, isn't it? So how have you been?
Oh, I've been all right. Same old, same old.
Yeah.
What about you?
I've had a date recently.
How did that go? I was going to ask.
It started off well.
Yeah.
It did. It started off well.
Was she nice?
She was lovely. She was lovely. It was all going well, and then I mentioned the shape of the Earth, and she was a bit taken back by why But I do understand she's not ready, and it's not really. I don't want to. I'm not one to try and dictate in a relationship. I'm not Eventually, of course, I'll dictate.
Yeah.
But at first, I've got to accept that somebody might think something different to me. But that's just part of getting on with people in life, isn't it? I suppose.
That's just something I've been seeing for a while. So flat earthers make the shape of the Earth their everything about them, like part of their personality. And then, like, I think I had what the fuck was his name? Maybe for Mikey Smith, because I called out Mikey Smith about his observations of of the stars of Sirius and stuff like that. Because I actually showed his, and I have observation of video and pictures of Sirius I did myself, and I called him out and went like, I said, because Mikey Smith had said something along the lines of his Celestron 20x80 binoculars and his Galaxy smartphone are better than any telescope. And I have like an old like Celestron 130 Newtonian that I bought off eBay for like 50 quid. And I said, look, okay, fine, if you think your binoculars on your mobile phone is better than anything I have like a planetary camera and stuff like that I use on my laptop. I said, then show me. I want to see pictures just as good, if not better, of like Jupiter, which isn't hard to get, Mars, Saturn, stuff like that. Oh yeah. I said I want to see that. I think I had as a Flat Earth Reconnaissance or something like that came into my comments and offered to have me go into a live. And I said to him, look, I'm more than happy to. So email me. Because you got Messenger. Like, no, I'm not having a Messenger. Email me. Here's my email that I have attached to this YouTube. Email me. Let me know when. I said, but look, if I have a life and if I can't make it, then I'm not gonna drop everything. I said I'll try if I can. But I said the shape of the Earth isn't everything I'm about. I got life. I don't make it about me, like about everything. So I have not seen. I check almost every day. I do check emails. I check the email to see if anybody is got hold of me, and nothing. And that was weeks ago. Nothing. I actually put in Mikey Smith's, the one he has on the T-shirt. He's in a Sirius, all the colors. I put that into AI, and I had to convince AI that was a picture of Sirius, because it was not having it. Like Gemini, for Google and stuff like that, wouldn't have it. It said no, that's a drone, or that's this or that. That's definitely not Sirius. As soon as I put my picture in, it instantly, I didn't have to put a prompt. Just put the picture in, clicked enter, and it went, oh, it's a good picture of Sirius. So yeah, that's pretty good. And I'm not boasting anything up, but it's just like crazy. I had to convince it that Mikey's was Sirius, and then it gave me all the reasons why they look like that, aberration and all that shit. But yeah, mine it was instantly got it right away. So yeah, I do like to check Mikey Smith stuff out, because it is wild, the stuff he comes up with. He's convinced he's proven the firmament because of all the different chromatic aberration and different artifacts he gets in his phone and stuff like that. Well, have you seen my stuff, right? I do appreciate that. I do try. I haven't been out for a while. I do need to get out with a telescope here soon. I tried to get the solar eclipse, but I wasn't fast enough and we had cloud cover, so I was just like, I wasn't quick enough. I was a bit, so yeah. I got a picture of it on my phone That's the best I could do with that. I'll put the filter over top. But yeah. Alright, let's crack on with this.
That goes there.
Oh,
There we go.
you put everything in the wrong place.
How long have you known Brian for, and how did you two meet?
I've actually known him since he was a little kid, because I was good friends with his dad, who very sadly passed away when Brian was in his early 20s.
What do you think of all the stuff that he believes in?
Oh, I mean, it's bonkers, isn't it? I kind of, you know, I nod along. I don't want to undermine Brian, but I...
Okay, did you ever see that one? I think it was in the States, and it was the radio station, and they always do the whole thing, ring up, and they phone up like somebody had a date. Sorry about that. And they ring up the other person and find out what happened, because I mean, they weren't sure. And it was the guy asked all that, and the woman got on there, and eventually she's like, she tried to kind of be nice and skirt around, and eventually she came up with, "You're a flat earther. You're talking. All you did is talking about it. You're freaking crazy, you." And then that was it. It went off. It was so funny, and the DJs are like, "What's going on here?" Like, whoa. And the guy was just sitting there yammering on about flat Earth, and they're trying to convince her of it like all night. Eventually, she's just like, nope, freaking like delete, not having that. Yeah, so it was wild actually. It's quite funny on about flat Earth, and they're trying to convince her of it like all night. Eventually, she's just like, nope, freaking like delete, not having that. Yeah, so it was wild actually. It's quite funny to listen to. Try to look it up. Like say, I think it's something like flat Earth. I think it's told by first date. Something like I'd seen it on somebody's channel, and it was funny. It was just to hear when she finally came it out, and he's still trying to convince her of it over the phone, over the radio. Who's this? He would not let it go.
I just tune it out, you know.
Brian seems to think you rely on him to look after you. Is that the case?
Oh, I'm really happy if he thinks that, if it makes him feel needed. That's lovely. But it's kind of the other way around. You know, Brian's been ill for a long time, and he was in a bad way after his dad died, and I promised that I'd always be around and keep an eye on him. Brian's suffered from chronic depression for several years, and there's been times when we've all been really worried about him. All his friends seem to think he's a joke, and his brothers, I think, resent the amount of time that he spent with his dad and how much his dad cared for him. But in a funny way, all this conspiracy stuff seems to have kind of breathed new life into him, almost given him some kind of purpose in a way, because really it was so sad to see all that potential go to waste.
Flight pass. Why like, so if
I mean, I suppose is that in a way, I suppose, when she said that it gave him the purpose in life. Purpose in life, I suppose it can be with any cult though. You get sucked in. You know, people can say that about Scientology. You can say that about almost any cult, really. That something they felt so much better, like they had a purpose in life. But I mean, yeah, mother's love, exactly. Yeah, it's just, and I think that's where you get like some of these people, like some of these proper grifters, like Dubé and Flat Earth Dave and stuff like that. They prey on the people who are maybe in a bit of a vulnerable situation, or they're not quite, you know, like Mikey Smith. Mikey Smith's not. He says, and he sits there and goes, "Oh, smart, me smart." Not though. I mean, you can tell he's just not. He's just not quite there. He lives in assisted living, for crying out loud, in a thing. So, I mean, he's just, but he's been sucked down into this whole thing because he's not quite intelligent enough to realize what's been done, and or he's been in a very vulnerable situation, and then he gets sucked into this stuff, and then that's it. And it's just it's preying on the vulnerable, and it's sad, it's sick. Like this, the fella on TikTok, Duramax, man, I was sitting there listening, and it freaking was really moving. And he finally came out, and like he was talking about it, and then he felt like, this some realization of coming out that realized the Earth isn't flat. And, there's so much more out there, and even space, and then this whole thing where he watched this YouTube video, and big grown man, and he was in tears, crying because he was just that devastated. I was that moved at the fact, and realized that he was missing out on so much. And he was gonna start teaching his kids about flat Earth and stuff. And he said, you know what, I'm not gonna do it now. I just realized what a mistake that is. He goes, and I thank you. And he was just thanking everybody. I was in the live. I wasn't on the panel. I was on the live talking, and he was talking to what was his name? I think Pope Magnus is in there. There's a few others that I've been talking to him for a bit and talking around. Yeah, it does ruin his life. It was ruining his life, and it's like he realized how much there's so much more out there, and that really connected to the universe and all this stuff. And it's just he felt this. I feel this massive weight off me. It was something I just feel so much more better, and my life seems so much more clear now. And he was just he wasn't it wasn't religion and stuff like that. Even though he was kind of religious, and that's kind of got him into flat Earth. So the religious stuff being kind of twisted, but now you felt. Yeah, it was just crazy. And now, even now, you still see him in lives, and he seems like a completely different person. Before that, I remember him being in the Flat Earth lives. He was just as vile as the rest of them at one point. He was just sucked down it. So, yeah, it's nice to kind of see that. And you look at Jeranism. I think Jaren seems like such a happier person. He's absolutely ripping the Flat Earth apart. It's funny to watch, but yeah, yeah, it's insane. And I think the more he looks, he realized it. But then I think that started back when they had the Netflix special Beyond the Curve, when his experiment with the light didn't work out and it matched the globe. I honestly think that was like the seed being planted there, and that's my own hypothesis. I could be wrong. I don't know Jared enough, nor if I spoke to him enough. So,
if the Earth was a globe,
Yeah.
flights would be able to just go anywhere around it, wouldn't they? Like they would just sort of spin wherever they feel like it. Like you wouldn't really have to even coordinate it. But because of the flat Earth, you have to have all these like special units, like airports, if you will, that are together communicating to make sure they don't collide. And that's what they do on the flat plane. It's vital. If it was a globe, we wouldn't need all this. We wouldn't need.
Why wouldn't you need it on a globe? You've still got the same issue about you can't have planes colliding.
You'd have a lot more space, and then you could just sort of, if you thought you were going to crash, you could just keep going and going. It's like circling the block.
Yeah, but the Earth's a very big planet. It would take you a very long time to go around it. So they want to save fuel. They don't want to.
We've established it's not a planet as we think, though, wouldn't we? So
well, no, you've said that, but you know, the Earth is a globe, and you can't just fly all the way around it until you land. You've got to go from A to B in the shortest possible journey. I don't see how your theory about aeroplanes really proves it's.
Sounds mental.
see, that's the thing. I've talked to flat earthers a few times about this, and I've gone like, do you realize that like, companies like air travel companies and stuff like that, they wanted to get A to B as quickly and as efficiently as possible, because the less fuel they use, the less time in the air, and the quicker they can get people from one point to another, turn around and get that plane back up in the air and going again, the more money they make. And they want to make money. So, because they always say, oh, the flat earth, the routes on the globe don't make sense, with the Great Circle routes. Like, no, they make perfect sense. They're the most efficient way. And it's because that's what they want to do. They want to try to get there as quickly, as efficiently as possible. And then they also ask sometimes why some routes there's no direct flight. There's no direct flight because there's no money in it. Dry throat. And like, nobody's gonna fly directly from London to some obscure place directly if it doesn't make any financial sense. Now they might do where they stop off and like have different layovers, because one, there's more people going to that, and maybe at a certain point to stop one place and then go on to another place. So you go from like London, stop in New York, and from New York to head down to Chicago, even though they could do the direct flight, but there's not enough between London and Chicago, but there is a lot from New York to Chicago and from London to New York. Sorry about that. So and it's like they just can't comprehend this, like the logistics and financial stuff. It's stupid. Yeah, and the Great Circle routes do make sense. I had a freaking debate about a year or so ago with some fellow who couldn't understand a flight from London to somewhere in South America. And when I looked, and then when they did the whole flight, though, they claimed something to do with stars, which I realize now that Astronomy Live did a full analysis of it, absolutely ripped their video apart. But I found that out later on, afterwards. But I watched the video, and they claimed it landed in down in in Brazil. And when I looked at the video, I realized it never landed in Brazil. Their video, the plane didn't land in Brazil. It had went from London, and you see it go over Dakar, and then cut it off, claiming it landed in Brazil, and they cut out the whole journey across the Atlantic Ocean and down the freaking coast of South America. And when I called that out, it was back and forth, back and forth. Eventually, it's like, and they said something about the stars and the stars moving. I'm like, well, you realize that the Earth rotates faster than the plane can fly, so those stars are still going to rotate on facing south. They're still going to go clockwise around, and these two stars are still going to set. It's going to happen because the plane is not fast enough. The Earth, spins faster than that plane can fly over the surface through the atmosphere, and it was back and forth. And I ended up ripping the whole video apart, and then they came out with some other ones, and eventually I think they eventually blocked me. I just kept ripping apart the videos.
I know, but it's not.
But flat earthers can just not comprehend
was there
like
one
that.
particular thing that caused Brian to become this way, do you think?
Yes. He lost the love of his life.
To be continued. I wonder if there's another one. I mean, it's funny, but there's a little sad ending there. That was a bit of a sad ending.